Hello, my name is Stephen Brown, and today I will be talking about Adele's Hello. So, we're going to get started with some background about Adele, and then we're going to transition into an analysis of the song. We're going to look at the instrumentation, the tonality, then we're going to look at the timestamp analysis, and let's get started.
Hello from the other side.
Okay, so a bit of backstory about Adele. Her full name is Adele Laurie Blue Atkins. She was born May 5th, 1988, in Tottenham, London, England. At first, Adele had a passion for talent scouting. She wanted to look for the next big thing in singer-songwriting, but eventually she found out she had a talent all of her own. And out of high school, she ended up publishing a few songs for an online magazine. This led to her first record deal with Excel Recordings. In 2008, she released her first album, 19. This was her debut album and was really her big break she needed to get into the musical industry, and it jump-started her musical career. Since her debut in 2008, Adele has made a lot of achievements. Most notably, she spent over 20 weeks on the Billboard's #1 album list of the year. This broke all previous records. She was voted Time Magazine's one of the most influential people of 2012. Her album actually went on to be 3 times platinum in the United States, and also 7 times platinum in the UK. She was also nominated for 6 Grammys. This actually tied the amount of the record for the most Grammys nominated to one person. Adele has managed to win many awards throughout her career, as seen in the picture. At the 51st Grammys, she won Best New Artist and Best Vocalist Performance. She also won Grammys for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. And on top of all of that, she actually won just as many British Music Awards, which are just as important as the Grammys, actually. Let's get started on the analysis of the song, starting with the instrumentation. Adele is the main vocals in the song. She rarely has any breaks in singing. It's mostly sustained notes and maybe quick pauses. She's actually singing for almost the entire duration of the song. It's a very long song, so that makes this actually kind of impressive. There are 2 main instruments in the song. The piano, it plays for the majority of the song, and for the first half, it's just the piano. At points, it's subtle, but can be heard throughout the whole thing. It provides the main tempo and lead for Adele. The drums come in halfway through the song. They provide a steady metronome through the song. At some points, it overpowers the piano, but keeps a good cadence, and it stays mellow and provides emotional tones. There are also backup vocals. They provide the overall feeling and ambiance to the song. Now, looking at the lyrics are serious with a sulky and regretful tone, but the lyrics basically say that the singer, Adele, is looking for acknowledgement for something she might have done or some mistake of hers. She misses who she is trying to talk to. It's saying in the first person, and this actually emphasizes the emotion and and reinforces the underlying message of regret and sorrow. Now, looking at the tonality, this song, much like all of Adele's music, is mostly in a minor key. This reinforces the feelings and emotions of the song. The timbre is smooth and heavy. The piano is repetitive. It changes in volume a bit, does not vary much throughout the song. The same chords play throughout the entirety of the piece, the same drums as well. They change a bit in volume, but mostly keep the same rhythm. It's very simple and repetitive overall. By the end of the song, it reverts back to the same timbre and feeling. At the beginning of the music, it's polyphonic as the piano plays all of its chords. Halfway through the song, another layer is added in the form of drums, but this doesn't change, it's still polyphonic. Then backup vocals are added, increasing the complexity of the song, but again, it stays. Alright, that's enough of the tone and complexity of the song. Now we're going to get into the actual timestamp proper. Starting off at the beginning, at time 0, it starts off softly with simple chords on the piano, with no vocals. There are no vocals, it's just the solo piano, and this actually makes the piano kind of hard to hear. It's in the background, kind of. This kind of piques your interest and forces you to listen more attentively, and it kind of makes you question why it's so soft. This lends itself to the emotional aspect of. At the 6-second mark, the vocals are introduced in the form of Adele singing. When she starts singing the first verse, the first thing you notice is how she's overpowering the piano. This shows the importance of what she's saying, and it's supposed to get your attention. And it provides a contrast between her vocals and the piano, and the contrast helps amplify the emotion of the song. At the 30-second mark, the first verse is now progressing, but there's now more vibrato added to Adele's voice. It's important to say also that the piano is still repetitive. You'll notice now how often she is saying hello. This will come into effect later in the song and provide a theme. By this time now, the only accompaniment is just the piano. At the 41-second mark, it's noteworthy to say that Adele is now increasing the amount of words she's saying in each beat. The beat and tempo are kind of staying the same, but Adele is now fitting more words into each subbeat. It gives the idea that she is getting worked up and a form of emotional progression is taking place. She's almost speaking faster than she intends to because of her emotions. At 53 seconds, the transition into the chorus is now beginning. This will be the first time we will be hearing the chorus, and with it, it's bringing an increase in volume, specifically to the volume of the piano. You can just about hear the drums in the background now, but you'd have to listen very carefully. The piano is still the most prominent. Adele's voice is also getting louder and increasing in intensity, preparing for the chorus. At 105, the chorus actually begins. This is the first time that we are introduced to it. There is a crescendo in the piano, which increases in volume. This is the loudest we will be hearing the piano throughout the piece. Also, her voice increases in volume. The drums are now fully kicked in. Drums catch the attention of the listener. It adds a kind of contrast to the sustained notes that Adele's singing. There is a big contrast between the soft beginning and the intensity of the chorus now, especially in terms of volume. Pretty much what was once a quiet and soft song is now loud and refusing to be ignored. One thing to notice here is that Adele is kind of in the form of an emotional crescendo. All of her feelings are now pouring out. At 131, the second part of the chorus is now sung. Is the same rhythm and instrumentation as the previous section, just that the lyrics are a little bit different here. All the same characteristics you'll find apply here as well. It's still bigger and more intense than the beginning of the song, with a stronger sense of emotional importance than the more sad and down parts of the song. At the 1 minute and 54-second mark, this is a smaller section, but It's important because it provides the transition from the chorus back to the more soft section that we heard before the chorus and also in the beginning. The volume dips and the overall becomes more mellow. It's still serious and full of emotion. It's almost like a tonal relaxation after such an intense. At the 2 minute and 1 second mark, the piano still very quiet and is not as prominent as it was in the previous section. It reverts back to the kind of volume it was in the beginning of the piece. This section differs from the beginning because there is another layer actually in the form of drums, which gives it a feeling of importance. The drums now are almost more prominent than the piano. Piano has fallen more kind of to the background, leaving the drums with the lead instrument here. Both the piano and drums are contrasting well with the vocals of Adele. At the 2:25 minute mark, the vocals are now more intense, and this gives a stronger emotional urgency, like she's trying to get out what she is feeling. The words are getting faster, like in the beginning when she was trying to increase the amount of words she said per beat. Overall, she's increasing a feeling of urgency. It's also interesting to note that as she's trying to fit more words into a single beat, the lyrics are actually referencing running out of time. At 2:35, there is once again another crescendo, and this is leading into the chorus. The increase in volume is in both the piano and the drums now. The drums have a faster beat. I don't think that the meter has changed, but the drums seemed to have picked up. This helps transition into the loud vocals that are to come in the chorus. At the 2:37 mark, the chorus is sung for the second time. It is important to notice that there are now backup vocals that lend themselves to increase the intensity of the chorus. The backup vocals are really the only thing differentiating this from the first chorus, but really these backup vocals are the only thing that is kind of needed to give the song a sense of change and progression. Overall, the vocals are adding just another layer of emotion here, and as well as more vibrato to the piece. At 3:25, there is a new section, one we have yet to hear. It's comprised of Adele singing a bunch of long sustained notes which really express the core meaning of the song. The backup vocals are now more prominent than before. They almost take over as the main beat of the song. The drums are still there, but the vocals are really king here, and they kind of keeping the tempo with the up beats and the downbeats. It gives a kind of spin on the same melody we had before. At 3:50, the drums crescendo into the loudest they will be throughout the entire song. Adele sings the chorus for the third time. However, this is really the peak of Adele's intensity and passion throughout the whole song. The volume of everything across the board here is turned up. Everything is kind of at its max right now. This section is almost the climax of the entire piece. All the tension that was built from before is now being relieved in this one last final chorus. At 4:15, this is the last time we will hear the chorus. There is actually more variation in it now. Notes are held out longer than before. This really emphasizes the emotional meaning in each line. The repetition of the chorus is really there to solidify the meaning and the emotional feeling of the entire piece. At 4:38, we are now at the final section. The instruments diminuendo from the intensity they were playing at before to a softer volume. all the instruments except for the piano now. The song ends with sustained chords from the piano, adding some dissonance to the piece, leaving kind of an unresolved internal emotional strife. It's a good end to the intensity from before. Thank you for listening to my timestamp analysis of Adele's Hello. Good song. You should listen to it more often.